ladies and gentlemen, to Kaiju Month here on Reaction and Review. Tonight, guys, I'm checking out a film from 1999. That movie is Gamera 3, Revenge of Iris. And I'm going to tell you guys, I have been pleasantly surprised this month. I, honest to God, thought I'd be able to write off all of these Gamera films as cheesy horse shit based solely on the previous Gamera films I've seen, what few of those I've seen. Instead, these things wound up being some of the best stuff I've seen all month, and if it was not for Death fucking Kappa, they would totally be the best I've seen all month. I, honest to God, don't know anything about this entry outside of the fact that if the title is anything to go by, Gamera is going to be fighting against a monster called Iris who's out for revenge. Why Iris is out for revenge, or what the fuck Iris even is, I have no earthly clue. I'm certainly hoping for this movie to be as good as the previous two Gamera films, but the only way I'm going to find out if it's any good at all is if I shut up and I push play, and I'm going to do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out Gamera 3, Revenge of Iris. I will say this much, guys. This movie may be off to a little bit of a slow start, but I really like what they are building up on here. Because we have the fucking Gauss are back, and they've apparently evolved somehow. They found a Gamera graveyard, as in literally tons of like Gamera skeletons at the bottom of the ocean. You know, and all of this is all sort of building up amongst other things. It sounds really cool. I cannot wait to see what they do with all of this. That's not what I was expecting to see, guys. Gamera looks a touch spikier and angrier than normal. Doesn't really seem to care about human life. Has kind of caused a couple of deaths and mountains more damage than he caused across the first two films combined. And we get to see what these new evolved Gauss look like. Well, at least one. Don't know what the fuck happened to it before it landed in the city. Perhaps maybe Gamera fucked it up real bad, because it had like one eye like hanging out of its socket and shit, and it just looked messed up, man. I am going to say, though, this looks a fuckload better than what was in the previous films in this trilogy, and those movies looked really solid. This is fucking awesome, dude! Okay, I'm just gonna say this right now. There is something both stunningly beautiful and inherently creepy about how Iris looks. I mean, okay, I totally understand that Iris is still, you know, young and hasn't grown, and apparently was feasting on animals earlier, and the carcasses looked really disgusting. But there is just something, like I said, there is something both beautiful and incredibly off-putting about how this fucking thing looks. I will say, though, that the fucking CG used for it is amazing. I was not expecting CG from 1999 to look that decent. That much was really cool. I'm curious to see what they do with this thing now, guys. Okay, well, I can say that now that Iris has gotten bigger, it doesn't look nearly as creepy. Looks really cool. I really can't wait to see the fucking thing actually fight against Gamera. I think that'll be really a fascinating fight. And considering how badass the last fight in this movie was, I am really expecting the big throwdown between Gamera and Iris to be something of epic proportions. Man, I can't wait to see it. Okay, guys, I'd like to say right now that Gamera and Iris haven't even had their proper fight yet. They've just been chasing each other as they fly to, I forget which city they just landed in. The two of them are now facing off. The city's already engulfed in flames. The fight hasn't even started yet, but the city is a burning crater. That is an awesome sign, guys, because that tells me that the fight hasn't even started yet. They've already caused a mountain of fucking damage. That means there's a shitload more to fucking come. I can't wait! Yes! Wow. So, in order to stop Iris from siphoning off Gamera's life force, Gamera amputated his own arm. Dude, the more that I think that this fight can't get any more fucking amazing, it keeps topping itself. This guy's, honest to God, is like one of the best kaiju fights I've seen in years. This is fucking amazing, man. Holy fuck, that ending was amazing. Unfortunately, it also kind of counts as a sequel hook. They didn't make a sequel. No, they rebooted it after this for whatever baffling fucking reason. So we don't get to see Gamera fight against the, army of thousands of fucking Gauss that were heading towards him at the end of this. God, that would have been fucking amazing. Anyway, guys, that is Gamera 3, The Revenge of Iris. Let's shut that off. Wow. Wow, that was amazing. Okay, so, god damn, where to start? Writing. Let's start with writing. I usually start with writing anyway. You know how I complained in Gamera 2, how Gamera came off as like a massive bitch because he just got his ass handed to him in 2 straight fights, just suddenly to come back and just lay waste to Legion? That is not what happens in this film. Gamera is, in all seriousness, in all of 2 fights, and in both of them, the best way to sum up Gamera's style is 0 fucks given. Okay? Gamera shows up and absolutely decimates whatever the heck is in his path, which is in stark contrast to the previous films where Gamera seemed to care about all of the little humans like scurrying around the city like a bunch of little tiny ants. Gamera sets fire to them. He drops buildings on top of them. Guys, the body count in this film is higher than damn near any other kaiju flick I have ever seen. And that is great. I'm always happy to see something that just absolutely stuns me. I was not expecting, shots of hundreds of people as they go flying into the air as a giant fireball, I'm going to assume, kills every single fucking one of them. And we get to see that, and it was awesome. Holy crap. Now, because Gamera is only in 2 fights, one towards the start of the film and one at the very end, we really don't have a whole lot of kaiju, fighting, kaiju action that you'd normally expect from a movie of this genre. So, because of that, you then have to hope that they at least balance it with fucking interesting characters and all, and we totally have that. Our characters are deep and memorable. We have characters coming back from the previous 2 films, and it's awesome. In fact, I do want to applaud the writers for actually tying both films into this one. Like, everything all ties in, kind of forms this nice little perfect thing, where the first 2 films almost felt like separate like continuities almost. Gamera 3 here ties everything back, and it's amazing. And the way that they do it is just awesome. And there's just tons and tons of shit going on, and it's just so well done. Guys, there is not a single moment of boredom in this film. Our pacing is perfect. Our characters are memorable and awesome. The humor, what little humor is in this thing is great. And when I was told that the 90s Gamera trilogy was darker than the others, I was kind of expecting, something akin to the first 2, where it's kind of dark, but no big deal. This sucker is pitch black in tone compared to any other Gamera film I've seen, and god damn, it benefits from that. It is such an amazing watch, guys. Now, mind you, I will say right now that this still isn't better than like half of the Godzilla movies out there. But then again, I'm incredibly biased towards those. This thing, though, is by far, unquestionably, the best Gamera film I have seen, and I have only talked about the writing. The acting, well, similar to the first two, I watched this thing dubbed. The dub is amazing. Alright? The dub is spectacular. I loved the casting choices. I loved how everybody sounded. Everybody sounded perfect. That's something you don't normally see in a whole lot of dubs. So that much, fantastic. Absolutely loved that, yes. I really couldn't tell you about how the actors in the film itself were, unlike the Rebirth of Mothra trilogy, where I could point out that the children are shit, and you can tell just by looking at their body language. We don't have that here. We don't have a case of, somebody just doesn't look natural. Everything looks amazing, guys. The acting here is top notch. Special effects. Two things that normally don't go hand in hand are kaiju film and CG. This has been proven for years. Most people blame the failings of Godzilla 98 on the fact that the creature was done in CG. The problem with that film was not the fact that Godzilla was done in CG. The problem with that movie is that it was written for shit. This thing, on the other hand, which came out 1 year later, has CG that looks far and away better than anything we saw in Godzilla 98, and it just looks amazing. Iris is almost completely rendered in CG. Pretty much has to be, considering the fact that even when it's in its fully grown state, the son of a bitch has got tentacles everywhere, and that would have been a nightmare to puppeteer. So every single one of Iris's tentacles are all done in CG, and the actual suit looks awesome. I mentioned earlier the fact that Gamera and Iris have this like chase as they're going to their final battlefield. Again, I cannot remember what the hell city it was. It really doesn't matter because the city is totally on fire before the fight even starts, which is awesome. But that entire fight is done. I mean, that entire chase, which was itself kind of sort of a fight, was all done in CG, and it looked awesome. It looked spectacular. Now, mind you, I'm saying it looked spectacular by 1999 standards. And by 1999 standards, I mean I'm comparing it to the nearest kaiju film from that time period. And if my choices are Rebirth of Mothra 3 or Godzilla 98, I'm going to compare it to the one whose CG wasn't totally shit. So it's better than what was in both of those, but it's certainly better than what was in Godzilla 98, which was, at the time, seen as incredible CG. This shit looks a hell of a lot better. And our suits are fucking amazing. Gamera has this new look, sort of, where Gamera's shell and his skin is a little bit more spiky, and it just looks a touch more natural. And just all of it comes together so well. It looks fantastic. And I talked about the bit where Gamera has to amputate his own arm. That shot was amazing. Guys, everything here in terms of special effects. I'm talking the suit work, I'm talking the CG, I'm talking the miniatures, the sets, green screening, compositing, all of it fucking brilliant. Excuse me. Fantastically done. The special effects here are the best I've seen all fucking month, and that is great. I absolutely adored the way that this thing turned out, just in terms of special effects alone. But everything else about this movie just shines. Our camera work is amazing. Our lighting is perfect. Our blocking, our staging, everything is absolutely brilliantly done. I commented when I did the first Gamera film miniatures and the sets, and I talked about how the sets looked kind of fake and kind of shit in the first of this Gamera trilogy. In the second film, when I covered the second film, I mentioned that it was a vast, vast improvement. This film, better fucking miniatures than I've seen even in the best Godzilla movies. That stunned me. Just the sheer level of detail in every single building and sign. Everything looked fucking amazing. Guys, I could probably sit up here and heap mountains of praise on this movie all fucking day. But I'm just going to sum it up this way. If you haven't seen Gamera 3 Revenge of Iris, you need to. I don't care how you get your hands on it. I don't care if you find it on Netflix. I don't care if you buy the Blu-ray. By the way, that Blu-ray box set, the one with this entire trilogy for about $10, worth every single cent. All 3 films are absolutely amazing. And if you do not own that set, please head over to Amazon, eBay, go to fucking Kmart. I know for a fact that Kmart carries it. Back when we still had a Kmart in Green Bay, they always had copies there. That's where I bought mine. So yeah, you guys need to buy these. They're absolutely amazing. And even if you're not a fan of kaiju films, you are probably going to be absolutely thrilled by how awesome this movie is. It is probably the best way to actually introduce somebody to this genre, because it shows how everything can be done right, and everything can come together and form an amazing movie. So am I able to recommend this movie? Yes. Fuck yes. You need to see this thing, guys. It is absolutely spectacularly done. It is borderline perfection from start to finish, save for the fact that the ending is a little bit of a dick tease, and we're never going to actually see that happen. That really sucked, but oh well. I am going to totally let all of that go, because the rest of the movie before it was absolutely fucking epic. Wow, man, I loved this movie that much. You know what? I was talking about Godzilla movies earlier, and I mentioned the best Godzilla movies. I've got all of those on Blu-ray, because thankfully they've already put almost all of the best ones out. I'm going to go watch a few of those. I think I'm going to start with the one from 2014, and I'll just start jumping around the series, and I'll just find like 3, maybe 4 of them, and I'm going to marathon the fuckers right now, because I am in the mood for more awesome, badass kaiju fun. Anyway, guys, with that, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.